I guess it's that time again. We are live, and hopefully everybody's having a great day. I have been working on this topic for a long time in my head. And you ever just have this idea floating around in your brain, but you want to wait till it's perfect before you unleash it on the world? That's kind of how I was today with this one. As you guys know, like usually I do, wake up with the warrior early in the morning, and then I do the experts lounge in the evening. And sometimes I just pop one in the middle of the day just to get some content out there. And today was no exception. I wrote a very powerful blog post for the Warrior Strategist blog. And I haven't been blogging as much lately just because of time constraints and because I don't always have like the right content and ideas in my brain. I'm not somebody that just creates content for the heck of it because I'm, self-absorbed. I create content that has like an applicable strategy and something that will make my clients money or give people ideas or really like get them motivated to go out and, try out a tactic. But this one, like I said, it's been floating around for about 10 days, and the article just flowed today. I had a lot of coffee. I had a couple naps. I had a brain pill, and I just went to town, man. Really fast dance music and just making the magic happen. You're going to love this training. And guess what? This training is actually going to my YouTube channel. So this is going to be my my YouTube video of the week. How to repurpose your book for additional sales and more notoriety and audience. So we got James McNeil popping on. What's going on, man? So this is the live version. This is the video version. So this this content comes from the Warrior Strategist blog, and the article itself I just pushed out to all over. So LinkedIn, Twitter. I tagged Mike Michalowicz, Pat Flynn, a couple of other people, and put it in a big vets group as well. So I got a pretty good contingent of authors out there that I feel like could really benefit from this information, because the main theme is that as an author, right, we put out our books, and I'm an 8-time author myself. I taught myself how to self-publish, to get books out there, all this different stuff. I just thought of someone else I got to tag real fast that is an author. Where are you? Coach Lori. There we go. Coach Lori is an author, and so is Mr. Stephen Kuhn. So we'll start with my own book empire personally. And so the first book I wrote was Teen Juggernaut, a young person's guide to life. Had a bunch of cartoons, worksheets, just guidance for teenagers that, like me, maybe didn't have the best families in the world and needed some guidance, right? I got sales out of this. I got some royalties. I got on the news for this. Like, I thought Teen Juggernaut was going to actually put me on the map and make me the greatest teen coach / consultant on earth. I was going to really, change the world and make things happen. And then it just fell flat. And this was probably 8 years ago, maybe. Because I really didn't know how to market myself or to get the sales going. The latest book that I've written was The Next Level Supercharged, which teaches 16 speed learning skills to do any job, nearly any job or skill better using these techniques. So the content today is based upon the premise that once you release your book, there's the initial pop, there's a wave of sales, and then maybe a book tour. Maybe you get out there and you are signing autographs, or you're lucky enough to make it into a bookstore. There's a lot of options out there for writers once the book is out. But the problem is that after a while, the attention starts to wane. The royalty checks get smaller. The sales numbers get smaller. And then what do? You come to that crossroads. You're like, okay, well, maybe it's time to start my next book. But what if you took your existing work and then you applied a technique to it for repurposing, and then you just brought it out to the world again? And I really covered this in the blog post. I think you guys should read this. It was super powerful. I was just in flow today. There's a couple ways you can do this. So as you guys know, I'm a giant fan of Mike Michalowicz. The word obsessive might come into play here. This is the Mike Michalowicz collection, and his upcoming book, Fix This Next, I'm absolutely going to buy. So Mike Michalowicz demonstrates one of these techniques really well. So he takes one of his books that he wrote, and we'll start with The Pumpkin Plan, which is incredible. The Pumpkin Plan was written in 2012. So Mike comes out and he releases the Pumpkin Plan, all new content, new chapters, a lot of new ideas, because what'll happen is that we'll write books at a certain time in our life, and then we can come back like 2, 3, 4 years later, and then guess what? The climate has changed. Our business tactics have changed. Our techniques have changed. You know, our understanding and our grasp of whatever it is that we're writing about and whatever it is we're experts at completely changes and matures. So my own experience with Teen Juggernaut, if I were to rewrite Teen Juggernaut today, it would be a whole different book. It would still have like cartoons and worksheets and fun things, but it would also have a lot more about what's out there for teenagers. And because technology's changed too since I wrote it. A lot of things have changed. So when Mike Michalowicz came back and released this with all new content, it became a new animal, right? And he's gone back and he's looked at the Toilet Paper Entrepreneur and Profit First and Surge. And what he'll do is he'll completely like revisit the book, add content, maybe do some new design work, and then re-release it to his audience. And that's a whole nother wave of sales. And that's a great technique. It's very smart. So that's one thing that is available if you have a book out there. Now, another thing you can do, for example, Clint Arthur, right? This is a great book, by the way. What They Teach You at the Wharton Business School. This was my first introduction to Clint Arthur. I became a big fan. I actually was just online randomly years ago looking for a book about Wharton because I was really curious about techniques that Wharton uses to train some of the best business minds on earth. And Clint Arthur wrote this book, and it didn't have stuff specifically about Wharton that I was looking for. And at first I was like, well, this isn't exactly what I was, what I was thinking it was. And then I went back and read it, and it's Clint's business philosophy about his time at Wharton and what he learned and how he applied it to the real world, which is much better than what I would have looked for. Because I was looking for like the educational structure of Wharton and the types of assignments they give and homework and how it was like interacting with people and stuff like that, like the core structure. I wanted a book about Wharton, and instead I got a book about how someone took Wharton's training and then applied it to real life and business and then became really famous, like Clint Arthur. So what Clint Arthur could do for his book is to turn this into a consulting package. He could do an entire program on what they teach you at the Wharton Business School, create a do-it-yourself course, and then offer this book as icing on the cake as part of an upgrade package. So that's a combination of book plus consulting plus course, okay? So these are all ways you can take your book, blow the dust off, and then turn it into something completely repackaged and new. Next example, American Badass with Dale Comstock. I was lucky enough to get to interview Dale Comstock for Shift. He's a great dude. So Dale wrote this book. He's got another one coming. Now imagine if Dale made the American Badass consulting packages for people wanting to go into special forces of any branch, right? Dale could take his book, he could shoot some videos, and he could put his consulting in a package, like a coaching package, and just sell it as a DIY for a couple $100. I mean, Dale's experience is second to none, but this is a way to take this book, all the cool stuff in it, and all the lessons he learned, maybe even throw in an extra chapter or two about mindset and philosophy, things like that, and then turn it into a monetizable product. Hey, what's going on, Steven? Good to see you, man. You were part of this, the inspiration for this training, just with the new book you and Lane put out. So what I'm talking about today is just taking an existing book, what happens when it's ran its course, and then revisiting it and then getting it back into circulation using some new techniques. It's going pretty well, actually. So understand that there's a few things you can do with an existing book. You can add content and re-release it as a revision, as a revised version. You can turn it into a package and add consulting and some new videos, some new content, turn it into a DIY course. Or you could do, and this one was like wild. You ever have an idea that's so great, you're surprised you were smart enough to think about it? Well, that happened to me. You could actually take your existing book and create a virtual book tour. Now think about this. Nobody's really traveling right now. Nobody's really doing speaking in person right now because of COVID. And I covered this in my blog article. But why couldn't you make a virtual book tour where you just get you reach out to a bunch of universities and professors, because they're still having virtual classes, people that are interested in your subject. So you match your subject with the subject in the college or the university or the high school. And so if you wrote a business book or a philosophy book, you could, reach out to business professors, business courses, stuff like that. If you wrote a military book, reach out to veterans of foreign wars or the American Legion. And the point is, you can create a virtual book tour. You could shoot a Facebook Live or do a Zoom conference where you could have a Meet the Author conference. And then you could have like a Facebook Live like I'm doing right now with a training where you read part of a chapter from a book, or you read like 3 of the most important passages. And then guess what? In the links, you could put a link to buy. Hey, if you guys like this, check out this copy. I've got a special going on right now for live viewers where if you buy 3 copies of The Next Level Supercharged, I'll give you a discount and I'll sign them for you. You can get signed copies, blah, blah, blah. But the point is, too many people, especially in the author sphere, get discouraged because they're like, well, no bookstore really wants to have me. I don't really have the fame or the attention to create a book tour, any of this stuff. That's an excuse. Get out there and just create these events, do some wild branding, some videos, some promos, some good graphics, and create excitement around what you're doing. I talked to Tamara today, my friend who works with Steve Sims, Blue Fishing. This is a great book about taking direct action to make things happen that other people think are impossible. Blue Fishing is as much a business book as it is a philosophy book. And so Steve could literally, because he's already got a name for himself, because he's got this great book out, Steve could literally take this and add consulting to it, add a personal call with Steve on it, add a DIY blue fishing course, 5 ways to make something happen. And he could actually do this, put a nice price tag of it of like $1,000, and somebody would get a call with Steve, a copy of the book, a DIY course, all this stuff for very little effort. And guess what Steve would have to do? He would have to do a 30-minute call. That's the only thing required for him actually effort-wise to do is a 30-minute call. And he gets paid $1,000 for each one that gets sold. That's a hell of a deal. And I think people would pay even more than that. You look at somebody like Peter Anthony Wynn, and he charges $5,000 an hour for his business calls. So somebody like that, could sell a book, a consulting package, a course, all in one bundle, and just rake in dough. And it's such a wild income stream. And Stephen Kuhn says, I did a year-long reading tour. First book, 3 to 5 readings a week. Exhausting. Perfect time for a virtual tour. Exactly, Stephen. And good on you, man. That's pretty wild. When I was writing books, I've written 8 now. And when I was writing books, it was like 8-9 years ago, I self-published. And so I didn't have the knowledge of like how to exactly, get promotion out there or to link up with people or reach out to media, like any of this stuff. I really lucked out because my second book I actually got on the morning news. And honestly, like I might revisit The Next Level Supercharged. I had pretty good sales on this guy. And another technique that I talked about was develop a new audience. So when this guy came out, I just let entrepreneurs know about it so that they could, apply this to their business. But what if now I reached out to educators and college professors and people involved in formal education, and I said, hey, if your kids have a learning disability, this is how a guy with a learning disability created his own job, made thousands of dollars, and became an entrepreneur, self-made, right? So you can develop, that's another technique I wrote about, was developing an actual new audience for your book. So if you've only released it to one type of audience, get some paper out, start thinking about people you know in a different audience that still, you know, would benefit from your book, and start marketing to them. So, yeah, that's the gist of it, guys. But honestly, this is a great way to take your existing book, give it new life, and get it new sales. I'm going to take a serious look at the Next Level Supercharged and probably design a consulting package teaching speed learning around it. So if you got any questions about this, feel free to reach out. If you're an author and want to pick up a consulting call and review these techniques and create a plan for it, feel free. Reach out. We can set something up. If you know an author, tag them in this training because this will really help them. And then also be sure and show them the article. Because I put the exact techniques, how to do this, in this article. I was very, very thorough. All right, guys. With that, thanks so much for tuning in. And remember, once you get your book out there, it's a monetizable item. But even after the star has faded a little bit, it still has the potential for sales. It still has the potential to make you a rock star, to get new audience members, to build your following and your business credibility. So hopefully I gave you guys some ideas today, or got the wheels turning. Because there's some very powerful stuff in this. And feel free to reach out if you got any questions. All right. I have a bunch of stuff to work on today still, but hopefully you guys got some value out of this. If you did, feel free to tag some authors, let them know. And I'll talk to you guys soon. This is Rob the Warrior Strategist signing off. Take care.